So we have second last talk for today, building an alternative to Heroku review apps.
Working as a software engineer at Big Bindery. And this talk is about how we are building our own alternative to Heroku review apps. Big Bindery is a web and mobile app consulting company where we primarily work with React and Ruby on Rails. We also have our own suite of business products called Neato. So we have around 25 to 30 apps which are in active development right now, which includes help desk, knowledge base, CRM and all that. And one of the things that we use a lot while building Neato is the PR review app feature of Heroku. So basically a review app is an ephemeral deployment that is created when a PR is opened in GitHub, and this particular deployment would be deleted once the PR is reviewed and merged. So the main reason that we want this sort of deployment is to run tests against this. So we use Cypress for end-to-end testing, and all the Cypress tests are run against this particular deployment. And we make sure that all the tests are passing before we merge the code to the main branch. So recently Heroku announced that they are getting rid of their free plans. So this would mean that we'd have to pay considerable amount of money for all the review apps of around 30 products. So this would end up in like hundreds of deployments, and we'd have to pay for the dynos and the Postgres and Redis databases and all that. So we decided to build our own solution for this using Rails on top of Kubernetes. So this was the initial architecture that we started out with. So the reason I show this here is to tell how we started and how much like we iterated on top of this and changed. So we started building this 2 months back around mid-September, and currently I can proudly say that all our review apps for all the Neato applications are running on Neato Review, including that of Neato Review. And this is like the architecture, like a high level of the architecture that we have right now. So we have a web dashboard where the developers can interact with their deployments and connect their GitHub repository and all that. And whenever a new PR app, whenever a new pull request is created, or if you hit deploy manually, the web dashboard would send a request to the Slug compiler. And the Slug compiler is the part of the system where it builds the image. So it would get the code from GitHub and use Heroku's open source build packs and build the image in the cluster itself and store the image there. And once this is done, the Slug compiler would send a callback to the dashboard with the image URL. After this, so if our app needs any add-ons like Postgres or Redis or Elasticsearch, the web dashboard would like figure that out and send the request to the add-on manager. So the add-on manager would create deployments for all the add-ons that we need on the cluster and expose them and send back the database URL and all that to the web dashboard. So once all this is there in the web dashboard, along with the environment variables that we get from the GitHub code base, it will send all of this, like the image URL, the URLs for the databases, Redis, etc., and the environment variables. It will send a request to the Dyno manager with all this information, and the Dyno manager is the part of the application which takes care of creating the actual deployment. So it would generate a YAML file with all the environment variables, etc., and it would create the deployment, expose it, and then send back the URL of the deployed app back to web dashboard, at which point it will update it in GitHub. So for the developer, it would look something like this. They open a PR, and then you can see that a new deployment is requested, and after a couple of minutes, they get the deployment URL, and in GitHub, we'll show that the branch is successfully deployed. And once the PR is merged, we'll scale down and destroy the pods. So I wanted to show an actual demo, but I could not connect my laptop, so I just took screenshots of the app. So this is the web dashboard, and you can see a list of all the Neato apps that we are running right now. And if you select any particular app, you can see the list of pull requests which are open right now. And you can, in the settings, you can go and change the repo and change the settings for enabling or disabling auto deploy and all that. And if you select any particular PR, you can see the see all the builds till now. So if you open a PR and then push a new commit, then it would fetch the latest code and like deploy it again, and you can see the GitHub, like the git commit SHA. And all of this is like modeled after Heroku. And yeah, if you go to the app log tab, if you open the deployed app, and like you will be able to see the live logs here. These are streamed from the cluster back to the dashboard app. And you can also change the environment variables and all that. So we built the entire thing to be Heroku compliant. So if you have a proc file with all the processes that your application needs, the web dashboard app would understand that and create deployments for each of them. And if you have an app.json file, like how you would have in Heroku, it can read the environment variables from there. So to conclude, I'd like to speak a little bit about why we started building this. So this is a space where there are a lot of existing solutions available, and like we would have been better off like using any of them apart from Heroku. So why did we actually build this? So Big Binary as a company, we've been doing Rails consulting for almost 12 years right now, but we've never dived deep into DevOps. So our goal with this project was to build something that others can use, and at the same time gain the expertise in DevOps and the required skills in this area. Yeah, you can scan this QR code if you want to know more about Neato or things that we do at Big Binary. And if you want a demo, you can get in touch with me. I have all the details in the QR code.